No sleep. How to survive the night shift at Mr. Barton's Burger Blast. Yergamadagens 10H. I'm a police officer working in a small town in Oregon. I was assigned to a missing persons case, a 65-year-old male named Adam Langston that worked as a security guard at Mr. Barton's Burger Blast. I've never eaten them myself, but it's apparently a cheap McDonald's knockoff. We were working on the case for the past few days, until this afternoon, when some unknown government agency showed up at our door demanding all of our evidence and that we drop the case immediately. Me and most of my co-workers wanted to refuse, but our hands were tied. However, knowing what I know now, I can't let them cover this up. I can't keep quiet. I can't let anyone else work at that place. We found 2 recordings in the security office supposedly made by Langston as an orientation for the next security guard. I copied the transcripts when my supervisors weren't looking, so I could post them here. I promise you, you wouldn't believe me if I told you what is on those tapes, so I'll let the recordings speak for themselves. Recorded on the 27th of October 2019, 11:38 p.m. Adam Langston, welcome to your new job as a security guard at Mr. Barton's Burger Blast. I'm the security guard who worked here before you, and now that it's my last night before I can retire, I'm recording this to inform you on everything you need to know about the place. In front of you, you have the camera monitors. They show the majority of the building, with the exceptions of Mr. Barton's office and the basement. Your job is to watch these monitors and make sure no one breaks in during the night. Sounds easy, right? I'm going to tell you from my 10 years of experience working here, that it's not. Any person that could be breaking in is not what you need to be worried about. It's the things already inside the building you need to keep an eye on. The first thing you should do when starting your shift is to make sure the electronic doors to your office work. If they are not in working order, leave the building immediately. However, if it is past midnight, it's better to stay in the office and pray that you can survive until your shift ends at 7 o'clock. Attempting to leave the building at after midnight will result in a swift demise. If you have a weak bladder or a problem with sitting still for long periods of time, leave the building immediately. Again, if it is already past midnight, do not attempt to leave the building. One thing to keep in mind is that the electronic doors to either side of you have an internal battery that only has a limited charge each night. If you overuse the battery, the door will open and remain that way for the rest of the night. It is imperative that you do not let this happen, as this will leave you defenseless. Be sure to always leave the doors open unless you have to for reasons I'll be explaining in a moment. Once it is midnight, you need to start looking at the cameras. Ignoring the cameras at any point during the night will leave you open for attack. You may notice some figures walking around the building. They may look human at first glance, but I assure you, they are not. Some of them may look harmless, but I assure you, they are not. And they may seem like they can see you through the cameras, and I assure you, they most certainly can. The first one you'll need to watch is a young child who walks down the left hall. He'll walk slowly, but if you stop watching him, he'll start sprinting at impossible speeds to your office door. Once you see him at the door, give a small wave to him and don't stop watching him until he leaves. Even if you have to ignore the cameras to watch him, you must. The past security guards who either didn't wave or ignored the child were found in a mangled mess on the floor, each with their eyeballs torn out and missing. Thankfully, once the child leaves, you won't be seeing him again for the rest of the night. The various figures roaming the building will leave you be for the most part, but they are not peaceful. If one travels too close to either door, you'll have to shut it until they leave. However, if the child is at your left door, it is better to risk the figure entering your office than facing the child's wrath. One thing to note is that as the night goes on, the figures will become more active and you will need to watch them more often. The next thing you need to watch out for is the crying woman in the far left corner of the main cafeteria. You'll start hearing her at about 1 o'clock sharp every night. Once you hear her, you'll feel an immense urge to head to the cafeteria to comfort her. Don't do it, it's a trick. If you resist the urge until about 2:15, the woman will look directly at the camera with a glare, more hateful than even the most vile human could hope to emulate. Once you see her glare, shut the right door immediately. After a random period of time, the shortest recorded being 30 seconds and the longest being 3 minutes, she'll rush down the right hall to your office. It's a good thing you shut your door ahead of time, as she moves far too quickly to react to. Once she reaches the door, you'll hear a loud knock. You may open the door now, she won't be back for the rest of the night. If you make it this far, congratulations. Most security guards are either killed by the child or the weeping woman, but the danger has not yet passed. The next threat comes from the men's bathroom. You may have noticed the red button on your desk when you first entered the office. You'll need to use that button in a bit. At exactly 3:01, the previously muted audio for the men's bathroom will automatically activate. If you hear one of the toilets being flushed, press the red button as fast as possible. The button is set up to supply the bathroom with additional toilet paper, which will pacify the creature in the bathroom. If the creature ever runs out of paper, he'll get up, walk out of the bathroom and slowly move to your right door. Once he's there, he won't try to knock down the door, or attempt to convince you to open the door. He'll simply wait until the battery runs out. Trust me, you do not have enough power at this point to keep it shut for the rest of the night, so make sure you always press the red button when needed. At about 3:57, you'll hear a soft beep and the bathroom's audio will once again be muted. Once that happens, you won't need to press the button again for the rest of the night. At about 4 o'clock, an old woman sometimes appears on a random monitor. The only monitor she's never been observed on are the ones showing the basement door. If you ever see her, avert your eyes immediately. If you look at her for more than a few seconds, she will break the camera you viewed her on and move to the next area, destroying the next camera, until every camera is down, with the exception of the one viewing the basement door. Having those cameras go down is basically a death sentence, so it is important that you do not look at her. At about 5:19 in the morning, a figure will enter the building through the building's back entrance. The figure will travel to the main cafeteria and look around in random directions. At this point, you'll realize that the figure has taken the shape of the person you love most. The figure could be a parent, your sibling, a close friend, or your spouse, but be warned. That is not them. The figure will call your name, but do not leave the office. After a few minutes, a large figure will enter the cafeteria and viciously murder your loved one. The method is different every night, so you'll never become truly immune to this tactic. No matter how convincing your loved one's screams for help sound, stay put. If you leave the safety of the office, you'll meet the same gruesome fate. At exactly 5:34, the two figures will vanish, and won't return for the rest of the night. The last and single most important thing you'll need to keep an eye on is the basement door throughout the night. Most nights it'll remain closed, but it sometimes opens at either 1:52 or 4:29. If the door ever open, turn off the monitor displaying it immediately and do not reactivate it for the rest of the night. If the shut-off switch fails, rip the monitor off the wall and smash it until you cannot see the camera feed. If you do not turn off the camera's monitor within a few seconds, a large figure will ascend the stairs and rush to your office. Its shape varies, but background checks on past security guards who were killed by the figure verify that it takes the form of your greatest fear. Don't bother with the office doors if the figure has already ascended the stairs, it won't work. The figure is strong enough to rip the metal doors out of the wall, and at that point you're as good as dead. If the door ever opens, do not exit through the main door at the end of your shift. If you attempt to, you will have to pass by the basement door on the way there, which can risk being ambushed by the creature. The maintenance and back doors will be available for alternative exits. And with that, that should be everything you need to know. It probably seems scary and dangerous when you hear me explain it, but I'm sure you'll be just fine. I might be the first night guard to make it to retirement, but if you follow these instructions, you'll be the second. Good luck. and I hope you enjoy your new job at Mr. Barton's Burger Blast. End of recording. Recorded on the 27th of October 2019, 6:24 a.m. Adam Langston, I don't know how, but there's a new figure in the building. Even in the 10 years I've worked here, I'm absolutely sure I've never seen this one before. It looks like an old man with a very long grey beard that reaches his ankles. The figure is wearing a cloak that covers his head, so I can't get a good look at his face. I wonder what the hell? ? He's heading towards my office. He's right outside my door. The sound of the metal doors being closed is heard and Langston's breath intensifies. Okay, I just shut both doors. I should have enough power to last the rest of the shift. I just need to calm down. He just walked through the damn door like it wasn't even there. Please, if you're listening to this recording, it's too dangerous here to work here now. You need to get back. At this point, a loud snapping noise can be heard, then the recording abruptly ends. End of recording. Please like the video if you enjoyed and thank you for watching Dreamland Orchard. Please send true stories or video suggestions to dreamlandorchard@gmail.com.